can go.
All right.
So we're going to talk about...
There's the list right there.
No, I know, but we need to talk about this experiment first.
How is it an experiment?
This podcast.
But why is a podcast an experiment?
It's not an experiment. It's I guess it's an experiment if you say it like, we're going to fucking kill each other by the 3rd episode.
Well, maybe.
And then it would be an experiment. It wouldn't be like a long-running podcast because we'd both be dead.
Okay. This is not a death threat. This is, if you follow us prior to the last week or so, you saw that Colt called a quesadilla a cheese patty because he couldn't think of the word. So...
Let me explain what a cheese patty is. I couldn't think of the fucking word, but if you think of a hamburger, you have your buns, you got your patty, and then you got cheese. I'm gonna say cheeseburger. I'm sorry. So a cheese patty is simply you have 2 tortillas, maybe 1, depending on how you like it, and then there's cheese. So the cheese becomes the patty. It's a cheese patty, and the 2 tortillas are the buns.
Well, originally you said it's the vessel for the cheese.
It's a cheese vessel. It doesn't matter how you say it, but it's holding that cheese in there. It's all good, melted, amazing.
Well, here's our great intro. Welcome to our brand new podcast, Until Death Do Us Part.
Until dust do us part.
Oh my God, I already messed that up.
Until dust do us part, because we are all about dust, not death.
I came up with that name too, and I already messed it up.
Yeah, she did.
We're off to a great start.
I was super proud of her, and she screwed it up.
Thank you. So, anyways, Until Dust Do Us Part, a play of words on Until Death Do Us Part. For those of you that don't know us, I'm Rachel, and this is Colt.
I'm Colt.
And this is Colt, yep. We met 10 years ago on the start line at an ATV race racing National Hare and Hound out in Lucerne Valley. And the rest is history. We raced up until 2018, I believe, on quads.
17 was our last year.
17. And so what a lot of people don't know about us is we're not just random people that decide one day we're going to race UTVs, that we're going to go out there and get into the off-road industry. So my dad's family has been into off-road, any type of racing actually. And so when I was like 3 years old, I was on a quad to start. I have the little itty bitty gear to prove it. Was never raised to race in a women's class. So the second I turned 16, my sister and I were the only girls out there most of the time. Here and there we had some friends like Patty Blaze, but we raced in the men's class. And then Colt shows up. And what a lot of people don't know is that he is actually 2016 AMA ATV Athlete of the Year. So we do have some accolades to our names. We just never expected the switch from ATV to UTV to be so stinking hard.
Yeah, it's been really hard. And then going back to like how, just a quick story about how I got into racing. My dad, as some of you know, is Val Brinkerhoff, but he is a jockey, a very successful one in his own right. And now my mom and him both train race horses. And that's where my name comes from. It's not because of the gun or because of the liquor.
It's not an
Afro man. That's not where it came from. He doesn't know me yet. But anyway, so how I got into racing is I played ball sports pretty much my whole life, and then but my brother was the first one to get me into riding quads, and started on a blaster. And I was a dune goon until about the age of 17 when my local hometown finally got a motocross track, and first race was on a Banshee. Horrible, but I got hooked at that point. But I obviously was way too tall, way too big to be a jockey. My dad's even tall for a jockey. He's like, I don't know, 5'9". Still wears like a size 7 boot. so I'm not sure how that works, but he's ripped like Moses. He weighs like 115 pounds soaking wet. So I don't know how he pulled it off, but me being 6'1" and 200 pounds didn't work out really well. So I had to find a little bit more horsepower. So I started racing quads, and then that's finally started racing desert, and that's when I met Rachel. And she's on my favorite quad, 250R. It was Lone Star built, and she was really cute. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm gonna go check that out. So
He was annoying.
I was, but I was annoying enough to keep her around. And yeah, we've going back into this whole UTV thing. I was working at Dirt Wheels magazine, and I was getting to test all these things. And when the Can-Am Maverick X3 finally showed up, I got a chance to test it down in Baja with the launch while I was editing for Dirt Wheels, and I was blown away. It was like, there was 2016, I think. Yeah, that's 17 was the first model, so that'd be 2016. But when I got a chance to test it, and I've already been testing Polarises and YXZs and all the other ones, and they're all really good machines, but I felt like this one was a step above all of that. So we ended up getting in with Can-Am. Actually got to take the X3 that we tested at Dirt Wheels home with me, and that was our first build.
And we kept it. We said, we are not giving it back. How much do we owe you? We are buying this exact model. We're building it. Taking us into our first season. Like I said, between the two of us, we have how many AMA ATV championships?
You have like 5.
I have 5.
I have 4.
So I'm better.
She's better, but then I
Just
have
kidding.
the athlete of the year, so I'm still a little bit below her, but yeah.
Yeah, so we, like I said, went in hot saying, okay, we know how to race desert. We both have our own skill set. I can read terrain really well. He's not scared to push it. We have really good communication, or so we think. So let's get into this. Let's build it. Going back even before we started BITD, Best in the Desert, we decided to race a random race down in District 38. For those of you that don't know, that is more like the San Diego, Southern California region.
El Centro.
Yeah. So we go down there. Our Can-Am is pretty much bone freaking stock, other than a cage, the safety equipment. We have no comms.
Not one radio.
Not a single radio. So I look at him like, all right, these are my hand signals. Straight, left, right, fuck you.
I'm familiar with that one.
So we went in, and our race was in the afternoon. Okay, well, first, sorry guys, this is what you're gonna see during this podcast, is that our brains are like this. The start was the most ridiculous bomb run I have ever seen. So a bomb run meaning they drop a banner, you have everyone land rush start at once and file down into the main course. Well, this bomb run was not the normal like smooth desert. It had like all of these G-outs, rain ruts. It was dropping down into washes and then back up the other side. So we were allowed to pre-run it, and Cole and I were like, all right, well, we know how to do bomb runs. Like, that's what we did on quads. But we don't trust all these people around us.
No, I mean, there was some good racers, like the Matlocks were there.
Yes, but there's also some squids out there.
No, every time we race, there's going to be squids.
Yeah.
And it's no disrespect to people that are just first trying. It's just, I used to be a squid.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're a squid and sometimes you're a badass, but there's some squids that day.
Yeah, so literally banner drops. I just remember seeing those squids like flying through the air with their cars and just wrecking themselves. The race was right into sunset, so we were racing against the sun. Somehow we pulled out a 5th in a bone stock.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did it. Still our best finish. But however, the competition has changed a lot since that race. And so after that, we're like, all right, great. We're going to do a complete build. We're going to have Fortin build our cage. We're going to do Best in the Desert. We're going to go pro turbo. We're going to do great. We did great in ATVs. How hard is this going to be?
It was fucking hard, everybody. Like, I never expected, like, I always used to complain, like, working on quads. I started hating it. It was like, a plumber that always has leaky pipes. He does not want to fix his own damn pipes. I don't want to work on this car.
Well, speaking of leaky pipes, so Parker 250 is in like a week. We just now get the car running. And we're like, how hard can it be? Tried and true, just like the quads. Gas and go day. Well, all of a sudden, the pipe above our garage burst in the middle of the night. And so we get down weekend before the race, and our garage has like 2 feet of like flowing, like standing water. Mm-hmm. So we go out there, fast forward, first race ever, and then first Best Sun Desert Pro race ever. We get like a mile off the line, radiator tube blows off, blow the engine basically, limped it back into the pit. Yeah, we took out the head gasket. We made it about, if you're talking corners, we made it about 5 corners into the 250 mile race. It was really great.
We had like a 10-cent part that was indoor radiator line fell on us and smoked our engine.
Yeah, so that was our first race. That was pretty much our whole first season. The first season, the only race we finished in its entirety was the Mint 400, which makes no sense whatsoever. Mm-mm. Then we had 2019 season, 2020 season, or no, that was 19.
That was 19.
Yeah, that was 19. Fast forward, each year we got a little bit better and better. Last year, we finally started getting it together.
Yep. With the help from a lot of good sponsors and people behind us and learning on our own and shit, guys. Like I said, like this stuff is no joke, racing a UTV. Like, I'm telling you right now, it takes money, it takes your heart and your soul and your blood, your tears, and you wash that all in one big fucked up drain. And that's where it's all going to sit and percolate, and you finally get to release it when you do well.
Yeah, so fast forward because we don't want to be too annoying here. Last year we finally got it together, did the first half of the season with our original car, and then for Vegas Reno we swapped over to our new build that Colt Friday helped us set up, and we finished out the year and got a 5th for the season in the Pro Turbo class.
Against all the big money teams and, you know, the people that have been doing it forever. And, like, we were so grateful, so pumped on our hard work.
Yeah, so basically to get to that point and why we're doing this podcast is we've had a lot of people that have stepped up and helped us. We've also had a lot of people that weren't so friendly in the sense of saying, never seen that before. What do you guys do? We've never had that happen, which is all part of the competition.
Yeah.
So this
which we get, but it's like transparency wise, like we're trying to do the same damn thing as you. And a lot of the time it came from our side of the same colors too. So moving forward, like we weren't like this anyways, but because the ATV community is such a big family and we help each other. I can't tell you how many times all of us have helped each other even finish a race.
Yeah, pushing quads across the finish line.
So we made sure that we weren't going to be like that. We welcome anyone. If anyone has any questions that is trying to get into this thing, please comment below. Please, we want to help as much as we can. Even if it's people at the races, we have parts there. We'll do anything that we can.
Yeah.
In our power.
But basically this whole podcast, until dust do us part, is focusing on the fact that we're doing it as a couple.
Right.
We put in, it's our money. It's not our parents' money. We don't come from money. We are putting our time and money into a dream that we've had. Mm-hmm. Some may call us stupid, whatever. We don't care. We're also going to be talking about on this podcast what it's like being a married couple now that we have comms. What our communication looks like, what our day-to-day looks like.
And we'll get mic'd up for one of these races.
I don't know if everyone's ready to hear that, because I honestly feel like if people hear how we talk to each other during a race, they're going to be like, you guys need to talk to, like, a divorce attorney or something.
We might get people just calling us to make sure we're all right.
Yeah, it really just comes from both of us are very competitive, and any of you that have interacted with us, you can hear it in what we do and how we speak about each other and our race program. But another thing that's like near and dear to my heart is being a female racer in this dominant male sport. I've always wanted to do a podcast that is talking about being a female in this sport. The things that I have personally been up against, things that my sister have been up against. We can speak to other female racers and also trying to encourage more girls to get out there. Like, yeah, unfortunately, I don't get to pee in a catheter. I get to pee my pants in a diaper. It's freaking disgusting.
By the way, women, don't go with the kitty catheter.
We've heard some horror stories. So,
yes.
like,
use diapers.
This podcast is to be raw, to be real. Anything you want to hear us talk about, send our way, and we'll do the best that we can to cover it. But we
also want to bring other people on this podcast. Like, I think it'd be cool to have like Corey Weller and Jason, because they're both very, especially Corey, even though he makes jokes about her making him sandwiches all the time. But Corey's one of the best racers there is, and she's a female, and she's been killing it from quads to UTVs. And Jason is a accomplished racer, so having that dynamic of bringing different guests on and different teams and everything, I think would be pretty rad.
And it's not going to be this fancy podcast setup. As you can see, we're in our living room right now. We're really
that shit's a GoPro 10 right there with a mic on it.
Well, hopefully you can hear it well, because it just went through the Mint 400 and got a little beat. But we are going to be a traveling podcast. So you might see an episode of us sitting in line staging for a race, and we're going to be mic'd up through this GoPro. You might see us do an episode out while we're testing, or like Colt said, bringing in some different guests. But we're just here to have fun. We're just here to encourage more people to race. From my standpoint, getting more females in there, and showing that, you know what? We're not meant to be in the kitchen. Screw you. Everyone knows my backstory that recently happened with that, and people shit talking to me. Girls belong in the race car. Don't sit there and talk about your fake nails or breaking a nail. Get your hands dirty. Learn how to work on that car. Yeah. Know how to work on it, because when we're out in a race and something happens, he's not the one getting out most of the time and working on it. Sometimes it's me alone. Sometimes it's us both working on it. So that's what we want to encourage.
Absolutely. She's up there all the time working on the car, getting her hands dirty, taking the whole suspension components off of the damn thing. I mean, it's pretty incredible that there's still this weird stigma against women doing it. Because most of the time, they can do it better than us. And I'm not even being a kiss ass right now, but she keeps my shit together while we're out on the course, and I wouldn't be able to do it without her. So
there's definitely moments where I would consider myself not very nice, though.
No, and there's times where I'm a douche about it, but that I think that's
we leave it in the race car out on the course.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Sometimes. Setting this whole thing up, we were already getting pissed off at each other, and yeah. But anyways, we just want to bring this as like a family community, to show that a married couple can actually do this and not kill each other like everyone jokes about. So
no, but we've been told a bajillion times, like, you guys should have your own TV show. Like, you guys are hilarious, and it's not just between Colt and I. It's between like the banter that we have with my dad, that it's my dad out at the race, not his dad. So if you see the old guy rockin' Dusty Crew, that's Rick. We call him Slick Rick. But
yeah, my dad's always doing his own racing, so it's always on weekends, so he doesn't get to come as much. But yeah, if it's out there, her dad, not my dad.
Yeah, so everyone thinks it's his dad, but
I consider him a dad, but a really annoying smart ass. I love Rick. Everyone knows that.
But yeah, so it's not just the banter between us, it's the banter between us and my father and my sister and just our whole team in general.
And her kids.
So we like to say it's an organized shit show. So we're taking you along for the ride, but we just want to kind of wrap this first episode up.
Oh, let's talk about Mint real quick.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry. See, we don't know what we're doing.
No, it's him, like, squirrel brain.
Yeah, I have what the doctors call ADHD. So, you know, we're just keeping this wheel spinning all the time. Anyways, we just finished racing the Mint. What was that?
Friday. Today's Sunday. 2 days ago.
2 days ago. Good math.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we ended up starting 9th?
I think we started 10th in the Pro Turbo class, but I think
We
it
went to
was
a time.
44th overall. And what was great was we got to start on line 22,
That's her number.
which was my number racing on quads. So I was like, oh,
Yep.
good juju. Like,
Yep. Definitely good juju. So we
it
start.
wasn't.
Yeah. That's racing. Anyways, we're gonna try to make this short as sweet as possible. We had a good start, but there was a lot of carnage from people hucking things that turned into mid-air to landing on their roofs and people getting hurt and everything. So yeah, I raced moto, but I also know that like we need some practice to check out these jumps. So we used that since we're not able to check out that course beforehand. We were rolling everything. Some other people weren't. But we ended up, on our start, we ended up behind the person until we got into the actual desert, and then we ended up making the pass, and we just kept moving up from there.
Yeah, so the race went well until it didn't. Typical race story. So the car kept shutting itself off.
First of all, we were up there with the front runners. We caught up. Everybody was packed in, like all the fast dudes. There was probably, 8 or 10 of us that were right there with each other.
Yeah, so like everyone coming into the pits, it was like boom, 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 one after another, which is crazy to see and watch. But the car was running great until it wasn't. Come in to the original pit strategy was to not stop for a big pit until the 3rd lap. We had to change it to stopping at the start of the 2nd lap. Cole Friday jumped in and tried to switch an oil sensor for us because we didn't know what was happening. It was reading -18. I was assisting getting my sister Andrea, who's been filling in for me since I broke my back in November, and Colt situated, keeping their head straight, making sure that they were drinking water, eating.
Yep.
And then the car didn't shut off on you guys for
a full lap.
And
we
we're
were
like,
coming back.
great.
We were coming back through everybody that had passed us. We had to use the bumper quite a bit.
Bumper looks great. Good job, Cole. Friday. But yeah.
That's what it's there for.
And then luckily at Mint, it's unlucky, but in our situation, lucky, there's a lot of speed zones. So we left the phones on, and so while they were going through the speed zones, my sister Andrea was able to text me updates. So we were ready for them to come into the pit.
You didn't get that page I sent you? On the beeper, the pager?
No. Great.
I said, call me.
Anyways, I hate you so much sometimes.
You might not even know what that is because of our age difference.
Yeah, he's old. He's gonna be 35 tomorrow. But anyways, they came back into the pit. Car kept shutting off, and it kept staying off for longer and longer. Had to change a belt.
Yep.
We changed a tire in the pit.
Only one tire out of that whole time.
But yeah, so with all of that, and the car shut off, 20 plus times? And of course it would shut off right when you're going to pass someone.
Oh yeah.
And
the worst part was, I just gotta, so at the finish, the car started reading -18 again on the oil pressure. So when it started doing that, I knew that it was gonna shut off at some point. So Wes Miller, who has been racing quads and UTVs for a long time too, we passed him up on the mountain pass, and then he was behind us coming all the way down. So we came into the main pit together, and there was a Bronco next to us, and coming through the pits together, and there was a military razor that was there. So we come out of the last corner of the pit, and we literally have one corner left, and then it's the finish line. And I'm like, all right, sick. Car, just please hold on. We just need to get to the finish line, and we're there. So I came around the corner, and the Bronco's on the right, Wes Miller's in the back, and the military guy's a little bit further up. So I pin it, and then it died. I was pissed. So anyways, hit the start button, get her going again, and then we finished.
Yep. I didn't get to see any of that.
No.
Nope.
No, you didn't.
But anyways, that's racing.
That is racing. We finished. We got 7th?
Unofficially 7th, 13th overall. It's
Yeah.
a bummer because we had that first podium in our sight. But then I'm kind of okay with it because me being selfish, I'm like, you better not fucking get that first podium without me in the car.
That's why I did it.
Sure. The car's really fine.
It's not. Rachel's taking it to Mike Heller to check the wiring and everything. Mike Heller is the guy that does our wiring. He's a genius with that stuff.
So the car is heading to Arizona on Friday. We're going to get it all ironed out. We're going to get it tested. And then, fingers crossed, I'm back in the car for Silver State 300.
Yep.
And that we can keep chasing down that first podium. But, you guys, thanks for tuning in. If there's anything you want to hear us banter, argue about, I'm not even going to say discuss. If there's anything you want to hear us argue about, let us know.
And you know what? I just thought of something good. If you have any good beer suggestions that we can put in these cups as we go, and we can talk about how delicious or terrible it is.
Oh, yeah. Or if we get so many suggestions, we could do like a beer roulette. Or you just got to spin it.
Maybe we could even get a beer company to sponsor the podcast at some point.
Mm-hmm.
That would be rad. Beer companies. I know
Michelob Ultra, your seltzers are...
And Pacifico, I love you. That is all.
He has Pacifico sweater and socks. Like the leather
Christmas sweater.
Mm-hmm. It's great. All right. Well, we'll shut up right now.
Yeah. So until next time, we're gonna keep arguing and pissing each other off and loving each other as much as we can. Mm-hmm. And until next time on Until Death Do Us Part. Until Death Do Us Part.
You know, that might be a drinking game.
How many times we
mess
screwed
it
that
up, you gotta take a shot.
I like that.
That's dangerous.
Shit, I'm a lightweight already, so I better. Until dust do us part. Mm-hmm. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.